Hello everyone, this video covers section 2.2 and it's mainly about histograms. Histograms are like bar graphs except that there are no spaces between the bars and it's used for quantitative data. The issue is that when we have quantitative data that could lie anywhere on the number line, we want to be able to put those together in groups and we want those groups to kind of flow from one to another. So let's just look at this first example here. We have the heights of professional or semi-professional soccer players in inches. Okay, so we have these different heights. Looks like they're already split up a little bit, but down here it's going to give us the classes to use. It's going to say we will use the following classes: 60 to 62, 62 to 64, and so on. Now notice one of the issues is that our class ends at 62 and then it picks up at 62, so we don't happen to have a 62. I don't know, we could pick like 64 or something like that. But the question is, where would it go? Like let's pick 64. Does it go in this class from 62 to 64, or does it go in this one from 64 to 66? The brackets mean you include the value. The parentheses mean you go up to the value, but you do not include it. So in this case, 64 is included here, right? Because it has the bracket on the 64. 64 is not included here because this goes up to 64, but that means obviously 63 is in there, 63.5. If there's like a 63.9, it would be included there. But as soon as you hit 64, it's counted in the class with the bracket. So when you set your classes up like this, you have to somehow indicate what happens on what we call the class boundary: 62, 64, 66, etc. These are the class boundaries. So anyways, it looks like we have this frequency table mostly counted up. If you look at all the values between 62 and 64, there's 1, 2, 3 of them. They're right here. And you can see we have a frequency of 3. Let's do the class that we're missing, 72 to 74. Notice 72 has the bracket, so the actual 72s are counted in this class, and it's going to include all these values. Once you hit 74 down here, that's actually going to be in the next class. So they're already counted up here, or they're already lined up at least. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like we have 7 values that are between 72 and 74. So we're going to place a 7 here for the frequency. Once you have your, this is called a frequency table here, right? We have our classes on one side. We have the frequencies, which is just the number of values in each class over here. Once you have this all filled out, it's pretty easy to turn this into a histogram. The main thing I want to point out on this histogram is, see how on the axis we just have the x-axis, we just have the class boundaries. We just have 62, 64, 66, 68, etc. We're just putting the class boundaries on there, and then naturally the bars that come between the class boundaries correspond to the frequencies that are between those values, right? So 60 to 62 has a height of 5. You can see the bar between 60 and 62 goes up to 5. Okay, so we're just going to put the class boundaries along the x-axis. Obviously, we're going to label them so we know what these numbers represent. These are heights. I might have included heights in inches, but whatever. And then the y-axis are the frequencies, the number of values in each class. You can see our highest class here, what, 66 to 68, goes all the way up to almost 38 or something like that. What is that? It looks like it actually goes up to 40. Yep, so that goes all the way up to 40. And then the class we filled out, 72 to 74, should be up to 7, right? 72 to 74 is here. And yeah, that's somewhere between 5 and 10, about 7. So there we go. That's a histogram. That's probably, probably one of the most common types of graphs you end up doing, because often we're working with quantitative data, and one of the easiest and most straightforward ways to put it into a visual representation is a histogram. We also have these ideas of frequency polygons and frequency polygons and time series graphs. I'm not going to talk much about them. You can read them here. You can Google them if you want. We're mostly going to focus on histograms for this section, and really one of the main types of graphs you'll see in this class. Real quick on this check your understanding problem, we have some, number of hours my classmates spent playing video games on weekends. Okay, and they have a bunch of different hours here. Some people spend 0 hours. Some legends spent 24 hours over the weekend playing video games. Okay, but the point is, our first step, we wanted to create a frequency table and histogram. Even if they didn't say frequency table, if they just wanted a histogram, our first step would still be a frequency table, because you need to organize this data. They also don't give us classes at all, so we sort of have to make up how we want to do our classes ourselves. Like I said, it starts at 0, goes up to 24, so you might go from like, let's say 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 25. And then you can do our brackets and parentheses again, just like this. Not the only way to do it, but it's one good way. And that would get you started, get you ready to set up your frequency table and histogram. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you next time.